A depth chart, permanent captains, no turning back now. It's game week in full swing. Next.
You are Locked On Nebraska, your daily Nebraska Cornhuskers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good morning, and thanks for making Locked On Nebraska your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is right around the corner. Actually, it's here. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now.
Yeah, did they not know about Farmageddon that happened in Ireland over the weekend?
Oh, it happened, baby.
Yeah, just don't ask Avery Johnson's dad or brother. All right, welcome.
We got to that a lot earlier than I thought we were going to.
Monday of game week. Connor Happer, Mitch Sherman with you. This is the Locked On Nebraska podcast. Your cold open kind of got me fired up. No turning back. Burn the boats. It's game week, baby.
I mean, it's well into it. Game week started on Friday. This is Monday. Like, they're getting past the physical part of game week. It's like wind down to the game time starting on Tuesday.
Yeah, getting close. So all the things, with the exception of black shirts, all the things that we've had to check the boxes for have been checked. Captains, depth chart. There's a broadcast team. You know, everything is right. Everything is behind us now, except for we haven't seen how they're going to unveil the black shirts this year.
Well, right on cue, John Butler will be in front of the media on Monday midday. So he will get asked that question unless Nebraska just preempts him and makes an announcement on social media, which is how all of these announcements are being made. That's how we got that's not really how we got the depth chart. The depth chart came to us in normal form, but this captain's thing, which is new for Matt Rhule, and we'll talk about that in the second segment, that came entirely via social media, I believe on Saturday, with a clip from a team meeting.
Yeah, first things first though, let's get to this depth chart that dropped on Friday.
Interesting.
Yeah, along with the game notes, and it's here, Nebraska against Cincinnati. By the way, ESPN Thursday night, 8:00. Mark Jones and Roddy Jones on the call with Quint Kesnich. So that'll be fun.
How's that going over among Husker Nation? What's your read? I don't know what people think of Mark Jones from like personal experience, but like from what I've heard via the buzz, that's the thing that Matt Rhule talks about.
Huh?
It's not. Yep. It's what has he ever done to piss off Nebraska fans?
Well, he does a lot of Colorado games, and he loves Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah. So
it's a Dion.
That's
thing.
it. Yeah. So we'll see how that one goes. But let's take a look at the step chart. I think mine and everybody else's eyes were immediately drawn to what's going to happen, or at least how is it going to be presented at the two tackle spots.
Sure.
And so here are the facts. Here's what you got. Left tackle, Gunnar Gatula or Turner Corcoran or Elijah Pritchett, in that order. Right tackle, Teddy Prohaska or Tyler Canuck. So Nebraska has two spots, and they have 5 people oring all of them, which is confusing.
So how do you feel about oars? Because I see the oar, I pretend like it's not there. So I was listening to your radio show, as I made my way to Lincoln on Friday. Friday was like the Matt Rhule start of the game week press conference. And I believe the depth chart had just been mailed out to the media as I got in my car to head to Lincoln. And you may have been on your crossover segment with the morning guys. And you all were unveiling it in real time, and somebody had to take like, oh, it's an or, so it's just the same. It's like they're not listed in alphabetical order. They're not listed by class name. They pick the guy who's ahead, and they put him like Gunnar Gatula is a sophomore, and his name starts with G, and he's listed ahead of Turner Corcoran, whose name starts with C and is a sixth-year senior. So like Gunnar's ahead of him I don't care about the or. All you're doing with there is just telling me this was a really hard decision. It's really close. Like the other guy's going to play too. So Pritchett's third. He's third. He's not number one. He's third in my mind.
I wouldn't have that same takeaway.
All right.
Because
I just think they can't put two out there at the same time, can they? I mean,
no, but when you put the or, it allows you some flexibility. When you're asked about it after the game, is like, I thought Gunnar Gatula is number one, and you put Pritchett out there or whatever.
Position where you can play two of them at the same time. Like receivers, if they put ors in front of between receivers, or maybe even like tight ends, all right, I got you. But like quarterback, can you put an or there? No, you can't. Same thing at left tackle.
I think whichever way you put it, it's definitely been a battle. Like it's been a real thing, as we've talked about many times during this fall camp. I still think they have the ability. They have this plausible deniability to do whatever they want with whatever combo at those spots. And I still think, one of those guys, Pritchett or Gatula, playing right tackle is not out of the question either. Whether it be starting or backing up Teddy Prohaska, who I think maybe is the main story here. He has had an awesome camp, and is probably going to be your right tackle come Thursday.
Yeah, he's not going to move to left. Like, that's not fair to Teddy because he's been hurt at left tackle. And I think when you're dealing with somebody who's been through the number of injuries that Teddy Prohaska has, you don't all of a sudden make him change the way, mirror the direction that his body is moving, from like doing it one way for 3 or 4 weeks and then saying, oh, we're going to put you over here. No, like that's playing with fire. Like Teddy is the right tackle. Yeah. That's a sure thing going into week one. And I think Gatula will start. Like, I'm reading the depth chart as stated, and I think Gatula will start the opener. Does that mean that he starts week 4 at left tackle? No. And like, I'm not going to bet against him at this point because I've been betting against him all through the offseason. Like I've said, Gatula's he's going to be a swing tackle. Maybe they'll move him inside if they feel like they need to find a way to get him on the field. But no, Gatula has come back from the offseason injury and he won that job. And some of it has to do with the fact that they have not gotten everything that they were hoping to get from Elijah Pritchett, the Alabama transfer. Like he hasn't taken to it the way that they hoped that he would. And that happens in college football. So he's third. Sorry, he's not number one in my mind. He's third. He's going to be the third guy in the game and he'll probably play. Like, he may get in the game, but like they were hoping for more from him.
At left guard, Henry Lutovsky, no oars here, and Jason Machachak behind him. Center, Justin Evans with Sam Sledge backing him up, and at right guard, Rocco Spindler with Grant Bricks at 6'6", 315, backing up Rocco Spindler at right guard.
I think what's going on there is guard is inherently easier to play for a young player in the system, and Grant Bricks is a redshirt freshman, somebody who's got all the talent that they are looking for an offensive lineman, and they've been training him as a tackle. Like he came into the program as a projected at tackle. Like, this is a way that you can make things click a little more quickly for him. I mean, you've seen it at Iowa a lot where they'll take tackle prospects, players that they expect to be NFL tackles, and they'll start them earlier in their career at guard. So I think, to me, Grant Bricks as the number 2 right guard behind Rocco Spindler, who's going to play almost all the snaps, is a good option. And it's furthering the development. It's quickening the development process for a very talented guy in Grant Bricks, but he's just not ready yet for tackle.
I'm going to burn through a couple of these, and then I want to stop on one in particular on defense. So at running back, Emmett Johnson, Mekhi Nelson, Isaiah Mosey, and Quentin Ives, no ours in there whatsoever. That's about what we would have suspected, I think, after camp. And then at quarterback, maybe a little bit of a surprise. Dylan Raiola 1, TJ Lateef 2, Jalen Gramstad 3, no oars there.
That surprises me.
Yeah, so TJ Lateef, the true freshman, is number 2.
I thought it might read Gramstad or Lateef, and meaning Gramstad would come in the game. But if if they had to go to somebody permanently or long-term, it would be Latif. But he's done enough in camp. He did enough in camp to win the number 2 job.
On the defensive side, how about this? At defensive end, Cam Lenhart, leader at the position, leader maybe on one of the guys sort of on defense. He is listed as an or behind Williams Winery and right in front of Cade Petchak, who makes the 2 deep as a true freshman defensive tackle or defensive end. Sorry, we've talked a lot about how he's had quite the camp, but so it goes.
Good camp.
Winery or Lenhart and then Petchak.
I'm stunned. Like legitimately, the biggest surprise on the entire depth chart for me is Winery at the top. Like, and I asked Matt Rhule about it on Friday, and he said that Winery is a different player from the spring, and he was a different player in the spring than he was when he got to Nebraska in January. So all of Husker Nation is hoping that is not blowing smoke, that is real, and they're not trying to pump this guy's confidence up. I'm not saying that they are, but really all I'd heard about Williams Winery through camp was that he's got a ways to go.
Yeah, take some time. Yep.
Okay. He's over Cam Lenhart. Great. Like, as Rhule said, he's got speed to burn off the edge. He's 6'7", 265. Maybe the light came on. We will see soon.
Yeah. That's a big development for them. And then a couple here that are in similar categories. So at nose guard, Elijah Judy, no or in front of Riley Van Poppel, who got a single-digit number, which is, awesome. Elijah Judy has been one of the feel-good stories, I think, of fall camp here. And then we could pair these two together. Willis McGahee at the jack spot was expected to kind of, share duties with Dasan McCullough, excuse me. He is behind both McCullough and Jordan Ochoa at jack linebacker as the number 3. No co's, no ors in there either. So yeah, a couple interesting ones there with Van Poppel and Willis McGahee.
Yeah. Terry Braden, and then that would be Phil Simpson's position, the jack. Those guys aren't messing around. They're not, I don't think they're playing games. I think they're just saying, all right, who's the best right now? And we'll put them out there. And I'm a little bit surprised by the Judy over Van Poppel. I think they're both going to play quite a bit. And I think there'll be sets where they're both on the field at the same time. And then at jack, Ochoa's had a great camp. Like, you talk about Latif being a story on the offensive side, the defensive version of that, like maybe the thing that we have not talked about enough is Jordan Ochoa as a pass rusher and what he might give Nebraska coming off the edge. For him to be ahead of Willis McGahee that at this point is
big deal,
is alarming to me.
And then one quick one, no surprises really anywhere in the defensive backfield with the exception of Rex Guthrie as the second rover behind Deshaun Singleton. Yeah. And then followed up on Friday by Matt Rhule saying, he's going to be, I'm paraphrasing, but basically he's going to be a star as soon as he believes it, which
is a starting caliber Big Ten safety. Yeah.
Fascinating stuff. Yep.
Kyle Cunanan is the kicker over John Hull. There's an or between their names, but again, I don't think they're both going to play. Corey Barney is the punt returner, and then the running backs, Mosey, Kenneth Williams, who we haven't mentioned, and Mekhi Nelson will be out there in some combination to return kickoffs. That was a lot to go through in the first segment.
Yeah, we could have some further takeaways, and we want to hear from you guys, of course, as well, so you can comment in. But let's take a break. Nebraska had another big announcement over the weekend. It's permanent captains for the season. We'll be back with that next.
But now a message from Rugiet. Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've tried one or both of them, but if you're looking for something beyond the usual, it's time to meet Rugiet Ready. Rugiet Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost your blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rugiet's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast, on average in 15 minutes. The effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and in control when the moment is right. If traditional options haven't worked, Rugiet might be the answer. Over 150,000 men have already made the switch. Head to Rugiet.com/LockedOnCollege and use code LockedOnCollege to get 15% off today. That's Rugiet, RUGIET.com/LockedOnCollege with the promo code LockedOnCollege for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit Rugiet website for full safety information. All right, welcome back. Locked On Podcast Monday episode. We are 3 days from game day at Arrowhead Stadium. We will hear today from Nebraska coordinators Dana Holgorsen and John Butler, plus Dylan Raiola and a few other Huskers. They're cramming 2 days worth of media availabilities, which will normally come on a Tuesday, Wednesday of game week into today, Monday. Tomorrow, Matt Rhule will be up to say his final few words before the Huskers walk through on Wednesday in Lincoln and then bus to Kansas City. Somebody who was in Kansas City on Friday night, we did not mention his name in the depth chart review. Archie Wilson, the Nebraska punter, made a little fly-by-night trip down to Arrowhead Stadium with a contingent from the Osborne complex, and they caught the Chiefs-Bears preseason game. So Archie no longer will be attending his first ever football game when the Huskers take the field on Thursday against Cincinnati. That was sneaky. Nor will it be his first game at Arrowhead Stadium. So they wanted him to kind of see the environment, check it out, get a feel for what American football looked like in person. He could see the field, maybe do a little visualization over the 4 or 5 days to follow. So that was interesting to hear that news.
Take a look at the grass, things like that. Maybe now, is this the start of the week where his parents are coming into town?
They're coming. I don't know if they're here yet. If they were, I assume it would be like on television, like on the billboard in Times Square, in New York. Like Archie, the reunion would be on TMZ would be there. So I don't think they've touched down in the States yet, but look for that in the coming days.
Exciting. Nebraska on Saturday.
That's when it was revealed. Yeah.
Yes, it was revealed on Saturday. They announced that they had captains for the upcoming year. So I'm trying to remember how they did it in order. The first one up was Marquise Buford. Mm-hmm. Then it was Dylan Raiola. Then it was Dane Key. Or no,
he was last. It was Singleton.
Lutovsky,
yeah.
Lutovsky, then Singleton, then Sierra Wright, and then Dane Key. These 6 permanent captains, as most of those guys, Key, Buford, Singleton, Wright, single-digit number guys, but Raiola and Lutovsky not.
Yeah, 4 of those guys represented Nebraska in Las Vegas last month at Big Ten Media Days, and then you throw in Sierra and Dane Key. So interesting, like consistent leadership. The secondary just continues to set the tone on the defensive side as far as the leadership, and that has a lot to do with experience. But in the single-digit category and here with the captains, it's very much led from that back end, and that of course is consistent with the experience on defense. It's just notable that they chose to do this. That Nebraska had, like Matt Rhule has addressed this topic in his first 2 years at Nebraska, and has just said that that's really not something that he believes in. That he likes the single digit thing to set the tone for toughness and who leads the way, and then he likes to pick game captains. Nebraska would do it, based on the week of practice that somebody had, or maybe if there was a connection to a part of the country that they were playing in, whatever the reason might be. And that seemed to work well, I think, for 2 years. But clearly he feels like, and we could ask him about this on Tuesday, but clearly he feels like there is an element of leadership that's been strong enough on this team that warranted doing this?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely, just based on the circumstances that this team is in, this team is in, because like functionally it doesn't matter. Like you said, you could pick anybody to go out there and do the coin toss before the game. But if you were actually going to say, hey, look, these are our guys, these are our leaders, these are the guys that I want sort of on the front lines, then make that consistent. I actually prefer it this way, for the record, but I do think there is something to the idea that it was, not right for those not right for those two teams, and and it was right for this one. I mean, he's talked about a lot about how player led this group is, and Rhule barking at Rhule for more plays of practice or whatever it might be. So I think there's instances where all of them have sort of had that a little bit. So it seems like you picked the right guys, and this team really does have a player led sort of feel to it, and they're just putting the stamp on it, I think, with this.
And it allows you on the offensive side to have representation from the O-line, which has always been kind of a difficult predicament when it comes to the single digits, because those O-linemen can't wear single digits. So it lets you know who sets the tone among the O-line. Like, if you'd asked me in June who I thought among the projected starters on the O-line was going to, one, go to Big Ten Media Days, and then two, be elected a captain among that group, Henry Lutovsky would probably not have been my first, second, or third pick. So he has Rocco, right, and he's got that natural. That's a natural skill for him. I think he'll probably be the guy who's like the spokesman for that group when they have a big game, and the O-line needs some attention. Like, he'll be the one that goes and does the interview. But Lutovsky, like, he's the alpha, it seems, in that room, or certainly one of them, and he's been there for a long time. I think Justin Evans is going to emerge as alongside him, and Prohaska now being healthy, like, he's been around and been through so much. Like, he also fits into that conversation. So interesting that they've got so much in terms of leadership there, and that they went with Lutovsky again as the player to represent them. And then with Dylan, it was inevitable. Like, once they said we're going to have captains, like, that Rhule is going to be one. And I think this also like kind of clears some things up after the single digits. I don't, and looking back at it and kind of having surveyed the scene in the aftermath of those 10 guys being given single digits, I think Dylan wanted to keep 15. Like, could he have been a single digit? Maybe, but I think he wanted to keep 15, like, for his own. Dylan's got a lot on the line here. Like, he's let's just be real. Like, sure. The 15 means something to him and his brand. So I don't think he wanted to part ways with that.
I also think single digits and captains are different things, as defined by Matt Rhule. So he's talked before about how having your starting quarterback having a single digit number. We don't like to necessarily do it all that much. So I don't know how the single digit voting went, but I think it makes a lot of sense for your starting quarterback to be elected a captain and have that, C on his chest, or some sort of notation that he is a spokesman for the team. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Single digit numbers are a little more like grassroots. They've come from, they work hard every day. They kind of come from the, whatever it might be. The teammates have a lot of respect for them and stuff like that. So there's a Venn diagram where it overlaps quite a bit, but makes sense that you could be one and not the other.
Yeah. All right, let's come back and talk about some sporting events that have already happened. One across the pond, and then a couple that took place at Pinnacle Bank Arena over the weekend and went very well for Nebraska. That is coming up next. A quick message first, though. We have an important request. Locked On wants to hear from you. We've put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcasts even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer questions about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes a survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcasts, plural, .com/survey. You can also find the link in the show notes. Thanks again for helping us out.
And one more word from our friends at the FanDuel Sportsbook, where, it's about time. It is here, baby. There is some overlap, of course, with baseball. So daily baseball bets and football, man, it goes along very, very, very well. FanDuel is the best way to make every game exciting, even though there might be some rough ones in the early going of this season. Track your favorite matchups. The app keeps it fresh. There's daily promotions. There's tons of fun ways to bet. There's same game parlays, home run hitters in baseball, touchdown scorers in college football, and of course the NFL. Get in on the action right now. And if you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if that first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or head to FanDuel.com/locked-on to get started. All right, welcome back. Connor Happer, Mitch Sherman with you here on a Monday Locked On Nebraska podcast. Over the weekend, well, first of all, let's say this programming note. We're not going to have a mailbag this week because of the condensed week. So we won't have it until the prior to the Akron game, the day prior to the Akron game. So be prepared for that. We'll get your questions and we'll still sift through them this week, but we won't have time to answer them. And then as far as the podcast this week, we'll be, we'll be normal Monday through Thursday, and then we'll see what happens on Friday.
We'll find a way to get you a show at some point, but we both are traveling and juggling other responsibilities, so we'll figure it out. We might be taping a podcast at 3 a.m. on Friday morning. Who knows?
It's possible at this point. But as you know, maybe you watched, the football season opened over the weekend. Iowa State beat Kansas State 24-21. Farmageddon, Dublin. It was a bad deal for K-State, who played mostly better than Iowa State the entire game. Found a way to lose. And then after the game, Avery Johnson's dad and his brother were videotaped fighting on the streets, tackling each other. They had to release a statement. It's bad. Every team that has lost this game over the last 3 years has said, this is a disaster. Why did we ever do this? K-State, Florida State last year, and Nebraska 3 years ago. All of it so bad. The experience and the flight home must have been a disaster for K-State.
Could you imagine? Like, I wonder when Avery Johnson got word of this. Like, if they had already boarded the plane. And they're on the way, like they're flying Delta over the Atlantic, and like some stuff starts coming in. Someone's connected to Wi-Fi, and like,
I got a take for you, Mitch. I think we should cancel week 0. I think week 0 should go away. I'm not a K-State person. Obviously, it was not good when Nebraska had this bad, horrible situation happen to them a couple years ago, but I don't think week 0 should be a thing. I just think everyone should start on week 1. And, we have big games. We have our big kickoff games. Like it makes even less sense to me than like starting the Major League Baseball season a week early in Korea or something like that. I'm like, why are we doing this? It takes away the beauty and the aura of opening day. Week 0 canceled.
Do you want to do this with all week 0 games? Like, are you against the Kansas Fresno State game from?
I'm out on week 0 entirely. I think it should all start at week 1.
I don't know. I kind of liked week 0. I'm okay with it. My colleague at The Athletic, David Ubben, was very upset. I guess this always upsets him when there's a game in Dublin. Like, to kick off, I get it. It is the same as the baseball discussion. That's a great parallel. But why are we? He's like in our company Slack channel. Like, why are we starting this season in Ireland? It always raining. It rains 300 days a year. It's like,
it sounds like a cool, fun idea. And I'm sure when they got asked to do it like 5 years ago, they were like, "This will be awesome," but it's horrible. It's awful.
So the Omaha Storm Chasers got in on the fun with K-State on Saturday night and trolled the Wildcats about how they scored 23 runs, which was more than Kansas State. So tough day to be a Wildcat. I don't know what was up with that, but Whatever. They're a minor league baseball team. They can do whatever they want.
Sometimes you got to throw shade. They hit 10 home runs, so they're on top of the world.
They did. They were feeling good. Who else was feeling good this weekend? Danny Busboom Kelly and the Nebraska volleyball team.
No other person feeling as good as Danny Busboom Kelly. My God, she has a hell of a team.
They have to play Lipscomb in their next match. And then Wright State is coming up after Nebraska plays another top 10 team in Kentucky, which is by no means a walkover. That's this weekend in Nashville. But the matches around that, and some of the matches that Nebraska will play in the non-conference, and to be honest, even in the Big Ten, when they play Iowa, Nebraska might just play all the backups. This is not an insult, because the backups will destroy Lipscomb and Wright State. The backups would start at many top 15 or 20 programs. So I don't know. I don't know what can derail this team. And it's way early. Nebraska destroyed Stanford, ranked number 6 on Sunday at PBA in front of 15,000 plus, and beat Pitt, the number 3 team in the country, in 4 sets on Friday night. It's 2 matches in. I thought Penn State looked really good against Creighton on Saturday. The Nittany Lions beat Nebraska twice last year, shared the Big Ten championship, won the national championship. Texas, certainly Wisconsin, are going to stand in the way of Nebraska just rolling to the title in Kansas City in December. But they are really, really strong.
Yeah, I felt, they're obviously really, really talented, and that just covers up so much. You could convince yourself that you're looking at anything when a team is as talented as they are. But I just felt the John Cook era, it was a little bit, it's defensive oriented. It wasn't quite as flashy. It just feels like they have been given the keys to say, just go. And they have so much talent on their roster.
And this is the team for that. They have the right team to do that.
Yeah. And so I just felt like they played so loose when they got into big games occasionally over the last, 5-7 years. It would just tighten up on them a little bit, and they would sometimes break. And it's early and there's nothing on the line yet, but man, I just thought they were really having fun. So
what was on the line is these matches. These were in addition to Kentucky, and then Nebraska will play Creighton, which is ranked 12 coming into the season, and Utah, another ranked team in the non-conference. What's on the line in these matches is a number 1 seed in the inside track to playing at home all the way up to the Final Four. So they're significant in that sense, because that Pitt and Stanford are going to be there with high RPIs at the end of the season. So those matches are going to look really good to the committee. They may not, who knows? We're not going to say this team's going undefeated or anything like that. It probably won't. It's very, very difficult to do in the Big Ten. And this is Danny's first time through the Big Ten, but as a head coach, but there were a few times the ESPN cameras caught her on Sunday on the sideline, and man, she's none of the concerned looks that John Cook used to have. She knows she knows what she's got with this team. And then after the match, in the post-game press conference, to quote Danny Busboom Kelly, "Today was not an anomaly. That is us."
Okay. And they absolutely steamrolled the 6th best team in the country. Not even remotely competitive. So what a quote, by the way. And she has not been shy about that all preseason and now into the season. She's like, we're freaking awesome. We just have to play awesome. And they played awesome, it twice this weekend.
Yeah. All right. So that'll be a fun story to watch for the next 3-4 months. And we will be watching football, and we will be talking to you tomorrow on Tuesday after Nebraska's coordinators visit with the media. Sadly, Mike Eckler will not be making an appearance in front of the media. They're just doing offensive and defensive coordinators on these days. I don't know. We're going to have to talk Matt Rhule into letting us get with Mike Eckler a couple of times during the regular season. That seems like it would be really sad to keep him away from the microphone. So we'll report back on what comes there. So thanks for making Locked On Nebraska your first listen today. As always, for your second listen, check out the Portal Show. Brian Smith is there with the latest rumors, portal entries, and signings. Be the most informed fan on the rapid changes to the college football landscape. Find the Portal on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts.